Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to your weekly dose of celestial goodness. As always, thank you so much for joining me in this space and on this journey. I hope that you had a really wonderful week last week. And I say that knowing that there were great things that happened, but it's also been a heavy time for a lot of people, right? There's just been so many things adding up, like the proverbial straw on the camel's back. And I don't need to tell you what those things are because in modern day, even if you try to avoid hearing about everything, you're still probably going to have some things trickle in. And they're going to trickle into your psyche, and they can fill us all with a sense of fear and despair and sadness. I too actually felt very disheartened recently. One, because of all the things happening, but I also felt like I was seeing a common theme play out, and that was what appeared to me to be a loss of hope. All right? I saw messages like, I don't want your love and light, or I don't want thoughts and prayers, and just as doom and gloom as you could get. To be fair, I do understand the meaning behind some of those messages, because a lot of people right now are really yearning to see something concrete, right? They're yearning for action. They're yearning for proof that prayers can be answered. They're yearning for miracles. And they want to know that miracles still exist and that things can actually really, truly change for the best. So thoughts and prayers are kind of ephemeral, and they're not necessarily backed by anything that we can see. And I think that's where some of the problem lies. I cried when I read some of these things because I'm truly a water bucket and I feel a lot, and I felt that collective grief. The notion of love and light and thoughts and prayers has really come to be seen as something meaningless. It's popped up on so many hashtags, on every crisis, every tragedy, and everything that's really calling for something more. I too want concrete action and concrete justice for the woes of the world, but I do urge us to remember that love is the most powerful force in this universe, and it's a very strong power for change. Biblically speaking, 1 Corinthians 13:13 says, "And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." I think it's beautiful that that's at chapter 13, verse 13, because I haven't spoken to you all about my love of numerology, but that is something that I'm interested in. And 13 in numerology is the number of the divine feminine. It's a number that brings things into balance. It's said to ascend matter. And it really is coded with the frequencies of ascension, oneness, and the unity that transforms all things. Therefore, I want your love. I want to see your light shine brighter than any star in the sky, brighter than Sirius, which is the brightest star in our sky right now. I also want your prayers when things go wrong, and I want those prayers when things are going right. I think that it's a beautiful thing to be in someone's thoughts. And for me, prayer is really one of the most intimate acts that I engage in. I actually write prayers for friends who request them, and blessings. So if that's something you want, just let me know. When I say a prayer, it's deeply personal, all right? It is powerful, and it's an acknowledgement that I am co-creating something beautiful with the divine. If I pray for you, if I include your essence in that private space, how could it not be powerful? Everyone is naturally inclined to their own views, and everybody has an opinion, right? But I will always continue to advocate for these things. for love, for kindness, for hope, and for a better world for all of us. I asked in my own prayers and in conversation with myself, and yes, I do talk to myself pretty frequently, and I have no shame in it. I asked, how could this be made better, right? Like, I started to notice something very curious when I asked this. When I slept, I kept getting these messages in my dream of don't give up on hope, don't give up on humanity, don't give up on love. That message was with me when I woke up every single day this week, and it stayed with me through the day. So even I had a different topic I was planning to write about, and this one sort of like overtook it. It was like, write about this, talk about this. As I balance days where we are all collectively experiencing joy and pain and everything that is in between that, I do encourage us to never give up on hope and love. I'm really asking us to be the best of humanity. When I created this space and this channel in my blog, my goal is to create a space where we could all be reminded of the best of the world, the best of humanity, that beauty, that kindness, that love, grace, faith, and hope still exist, and that we are the vessels of these things as well. I wanted to create a space where each of us could be reminded of our own greatness and to be encouraged in our dreams and our goals, and to know that they're valid and that they're possible. So when I felt that feeling of people losing hope, I had to grab even my own self and be like, no, don't give in to this despair right now. And as I've said, it's okay to acknowledge the whole range of emotions that we go through as humans, and to understand that everything has a shadow side. That's a whole nother conversation too. But for us as humans, our shadow side actually serves us in important ways, but we need to face it. I do think that when we face ourselves truly, and we can embrace the parts of ourselves that we don't love as much, or the parts that we think others might judge or not like, we really do allow for more self-awareness and the possibilities for deeper healing. I really think that some of what we're seeing right now in the world is a situation where this world is facing itself, and that is a painful thing. When we do face ourselves and we experience this deeper healing and acceptance, and I do think that some part of healing is realizing that while we're growing, while we're learning, while we're moving towards our own self-actualization, that we are beautiful and amazing as we are right now. When we get to this space, this translates into a situation where we allow love to guide us on this very incredible journey of life. When we allow love to guide us, what happens next? Miracles. Marianne Williamson says in a book that I have talked about before, which is A Return to Love, Reflections on A Course in Miracles, she says, miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. They reflect a shift in how we think, releasing the power of the mind to the processes of healing and correction. In asking for miracles, we are seeking a practical goal, a return to inner peace. We are not asking for something outside of us to change, but for something inside of us to change. Ultimately, all creation is expressed through the mind. Thus, as A Course in Miracles says, our greatest tool for changing the world is our capacity to change our minds about the world. That's a thick quote to absorb, and you may want to listen to that again, but I hate to be the one to break it to you, but no one is coming to save us but ourselves. That means we are the greatest tools for changing the world. If we lose hope, then we have already lost a battle that we didn't even attempt to fight. Let me also add that small changes lead to big change. You don't have to be a politician or Oprah. You can make small changes from a place of love right where you are with what you have. The former congressman, the very wise John Lewis, said, "You are a light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Study the path of others to make your way easier and more abundant. Lean towards the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Release the need to hate, to harbor division, and the enticement of revenge. Release all bitterness. Hold only love, only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good is to overcome evil is already won. Choose confrontation wisely, but when it is your time, don't be afraid to stand up, and speak out against injustice. And if you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation, in a world community, and a beloved community that is finally at peace with itself." I really love when he said that. And that is one of my favorite quotes from him. He had just so much wisdom to share. I can imagine that place, though, that world where things are at peace. I have not lost hope for that. And I know that to get to that place requires something of me as well. Maybe my role in all of this is to spread that light, spread that love, and to remind others of what they're capable of doing. Maybe when the time comes, I can stand for the things that I truly believe in, and I can stand for the people that I love and care about, and even people who are yet strangers to me, who could one day be friends. Maybe I can remind others to do these same things. A few years ago, my mom, who's a voracious reader, gave me the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Frankl survived the Holocaust, and he was the founder of a type of therapy called logotherapy, which is healing through meaning. You can look that up. He had a lot of wonderful things to say. And one of the things he said was, "For the world is in a bad state, but everything will become still worse unless each of us does his best." He also said, "Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather must recognize that it is he who is asked. In a word, each man is questioned by life, and he can only answer to life by answering for his own life. To life, he can only respond by being responsible. We each have a role." Barack Obama said, "The best way to not feel hopeless is to get up and do something. Don't wait for good things to happen to you. If you go out and make some good things happen, you will fill the world with hope. You will fill yourself with hope." We have a responsibility to answer to the highest calling of our life and to be of service to humanity. I absolutely love John Lennon's song, Imagine. It's worth taking a listen to sometimes to remember that the dreamers of this world are not alone in their desire for something really beautiful to unfold, despite everything that may be happening to the contrary. He said, "Imagine all the people living in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Oprah Winfrey said, I've come to believe that each of us has a personal calling that's as unique as a fingertip, and that the best way to succeed is to discover what you love and then find a way to offer it in the form of service, working hard, and also allowing the energy of this universe to lead you. I have sprinkled into this conversation some of my favorite quotes on hope. It is my desire that you let these words sink into your psyche. And as the world changes before our eyes, and as things get seemingly worse before they get better, I'm asking you not to give in to despair. I'm asking you to allow the courage of your soul to remind you that hope lives, love lives, and that you can help to create the world as you would like to see it. Barbara Kingsolver said, the very least you can do in your life is to figure out what you hope for. And the most you can do is to live inside that hope. Not admire it from a distance, but live right in it, under its roof. Laini Taylor said, hope can be a powerful force. Maybe there's no actual magic in it, but when you know what you hope for and hold it like a light within you, you can make things happen, almost like magic. Amy Tan said, we dream to give ourselves hope. To stop dreaming, well, that's like saying you can never change your fate. Please don't stop dreaming. As the great poem says, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your destiny. The Dalai Lama said, there is a saying in Tibetan, tragedies should be utilized as a source of strength. No matter what sort of difficulties, how painful experiences, if we lose hope, that's our real disaster. His good friend Desmond Tutu, and I know they're friends because I'm reading a book that is with the both of them in conversation when they met a few years ago. Hope is being able to see the light despite all of the darkness. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, while we must accept finite disappointment, we must never lose infinite hope. In his autobiography, Nelson Mandela said, I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I can't say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed towards the sun, one's feet moving forward. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested. But I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lays defeat and death. And to round things out, in J.R. Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring, which is actually one of my favorite books, series of books actually, I think he captures a sentiment that really fits our world very well right now. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places. But still, there is much that is fair, and though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. I hope that love and hope continue to grow, and that whatever is unfolding in this world for us, with our help, I hope that it is something so beautiful. If you have enjoyed these videos, I would love if you liked, subscribed, commented, and got notifications to see when new videos are coming out, and share them, please. May the stars shine so brightly over your week, and may you find hope aplenty, and that love truly abounds. I hope you have a spectacular week ahead, and do not give in to the despair of the world. Look for the hope. Be the change. Be the love. Thank you.